Going to talk about mileage accuracy with one of these things. I am using a Garmin Nuvi 56LM, older model, but all the newer models have this too. Drive 53, Drive Smart 66, 76, 86. It's all there. Now right now mine is showing 0 for trip A and trip B because I am in simulator mode. But if you are driving normally, you will see these start to increase in number the exact same way as your odometer or trip odometer, hence why they call these trip A and trip B. But the question is, how accurate are these things? Well, I've been using Garmin's for a very long time, and the best answer I can give is that no, it is not as accurate as your trip odometer in your car, but it's also not that far off. So now you can see it here, but you can also configure a field on this side to have trip A or trip B. So if I put trip A there, it would show the mileage start to increase. The only difference having it here versus here is that I don't believe it shows the decimal here, or it might. I should check that actually. Maybe it's the same. But you can have it here all the time if you want to. But we'll just concentrate on this because the number is bigger. In my experience, this trip odometer, no matter which one you use, is on a full tank of gas, we'll say, actually not a full tank of gas, we'll say on a range of about, we'll say 300 miles, this will be off by about maybe 2 to 3 miles tops. It's usually a lot less than that. I've even seen it be accurate to the trip odometer in the car to as much as a half a mile. So it's actually pretty darned good. And the only reason that this is slightly off compared to the car's trip odometer is because even when you're sitting still, sometimes there is movement while the GPS signal adjusts. That's really the only reason. Because you'll notice that, you might have noticed this, that if you come to a stop at a traffic light, you will see that the speed actually shows 1 or 2 miles an hour, even though you're completely stopped. It doesn't happen that often, but sometimes it does. That's only because the GPS signal is adjusting at that point for position. It doesn't mean anything is wrong. That's just the nature of the way that it works. So you've got this thing, and okay, yeah, in a range of 250 to 300 miles, this will be off by a half a mile or even 0.2 miles to 2 miles. So honestly, that's not bad. That's really not bad when it comes to one of these things. Another nice part about this is that, and I have seen this happen on some older cars that have a digital trip odometer, and well, they all do now because new cars use screens for the most part, is that if the screen or the digital part where the trip odometer shows just cuts out. I actually did have that happen on a car that I owned in the past, is that the whole gauge cluster just cut out, and I had no way to know two things: speed, mileage, and how much fuel was left. Well, Garmin to the rescue on this one, because I happen to know that in that particular vehicle I needed to fuel up at about 300 to 325 miles. I could have gone to 400 probably, but I played it safe, and I would fuel up at 300 to 325 miles. And I knew how fast I was going because this has, even in regular map view, show you how fast you're going. So what this effectively did is replaced gauges I needed the most, which was how fast am I going. I needed a speedometer. I got that with this, and I needed a trip odometer. Well, we got that, and the trip odometer also more or less acted as a fuel gauge, because when this number got up to about 300 to 325, I knew it was time to stop and get gas. So, um, even when you're not using this for navigation, if your gauge cluster decides to get all wacky on you or just outright fail, well, yeah, you can use this. And this would be, in all honesty, more accurate than a smartphone as far as for tracking mileage is concerned. Because, and I'll tell you exactly why. Because you carry your phone on your person when you're not in the car, and that would add to this. And you're not going to carry your Garmin on you. You'll leave that in the car. So, pretty nice. Pretty nice as a backup to say, okay, yeah, I've got a backup speedometer. I've got a backup mileage tracker. Sweet. Cool. So, yeah, these things, even these old ones here, they, it's just funny to think about it. They provide backup in more ways than one.